All right, what's up, everybody? Miss Lynch here. The setup. Okay. This is the first part of Chapter 8's lecture. Okay, so hopefully you have all your stuff ready to go in front of you, and we'll get going. Okay, so this is Chapter 8, Securing the Republic, 1791 to 1815. Okay. Everything we've been talking about, I said, well, okay, so we left off with the Constitution being penned and all of our ideologies going onto this piece of paper, becoming our legal, the basis of our legal system, okay? So, now then, let me get situated here. All right, Chapter 8, we're now going to see how that affects everybody and everything, okay? All right, so let's talk about some politics, all right? Okay, so politics in the age of passion is our first section. Well, actually, our first section is, I guess your book opens with the inauguration of George Washington, okay? But so, I will move on, all right. So, politics in an age of passion. Early on, we have Alexander Hamilton, okay, developing what will become known as Hamilton's program. Okay, so I'll dissect that in just a second. But so Hamilton was our Secretary of the Treasury, and he made it a long-range goal to make the United States a major commercial and military power. So let's see how that comes about, because based on those two things, we could say that that was successful, okay? So, Hamilton's program. The main goals of this, he wanted to create a credit worthiness within the United States by assuming state debts, and to create a new national debt, create a new Bank of the United States modeled after the Bank of England, okay, tax the producers of whiskey, so which is thriving in the Caribbean, right? Okay, and then impose tariffs and provide government subsidies to those industries, okay? So still to help them, to not diminish them by any means, okay? Okay, so this is Hamilton's plan, and then there's opposition to it, which is natural, okay? So the emergence of opposition. Alrighty. So opposition to Hamilton was voiced by James Madison and Thomas Jefferson. And the issues that they felt were the core issues of Hamilton's program, they felt were that the plan depended on a close relationship with Britain, okay, which went against all of our rhetoric of the American Revolution, okay. Also, opponents believed that the future lay westward, not with Britain, which will set up the model for westward expansion, all of that jazz, all right. And also, opponents feared that threats of freedom and corruption. So depending on, who you're talking to. Okay, so the impact of the French Revolution. I feel like I am missing. Oh, I got this out of order, I think. That's why. Okay. Now I understand. Okay. This makes sense to me now. I was like, I don't know, I'm going to keep up with these notes while I'm trying to say this stuff. Okay. So the impact of the French Revolution. Okay, so French Revolution became very radical in 1793, which is a couple years into it. And France went to war with Britain. So the radicals in France are able to organize enough. Yes, so this will be, as we get into the 1800s, the Napoleonic Wars. Okay, but so all of this War of Empire, all right? But so that's 1793. And despite this radicalism, Jefferson and followers wanted to support France's attempt at self-government. Remember, France had supported the Patriots during the American struggle for self-government. Okay, so Washington, Hamilton, and their followers feared that there would be anarchy and gravitated toward England. Okay, so here's a debate coming about as to whether or not France should be supported. Okay, and Washington then declared American neutrality. All right, so we're going to stay out of it. We've fought enough war. Yeah. Anyway, okay. So, Britain then ignored this neutrality and seized hundreds of American ships that were trading with the French West Indies, and then resumed impressment. Okay, so what is impressment? Well, it's the process of kidnapping sailors, including American citizens of British origin, and then they were forced to serve in the Navy. Okay, there was a legal stipulation of whenever they were told, these people were told that they would have to serve in the Navy, the fact that they were, at sea, there was this legal loophole that made it it was inevitable, all right? So, so that is impressment. Okay, and then we have Jay's Treaty. So this was a negotiation by Chief Justice John Jay in 1794, which contained no concessions on impressment, but this put the United States closer to Britain in the British conflict with France, okay? And then it abandoned France as an ally. So this will then just sharpen political divisions in the United States even more, which then leads us to political parties, okay? So this debate and system creates our party system that we now have, okay? Okie dokie. So our early groups, we have our Federalists and our Republicans. So the Federalists supported Washington and Hamilton, their economic plan, and supported Britain, okay? Our Republicans do the opposite. They'll be sympathetic to the French. They'll support Jefferson and Madison. They had more faith in democratic self-government, which is why they support the French, right? And a large base of the Republican Party would be our planter class and our yeoman class, so our lower income small farmers, right? Okay, so both parties charged the other with betraying the principles of the American Revolution, okay? So yeah, depending on, whoever you're supporting, whatever your view of these American ideals are. Anyway, but so we have our parties developing. Just make sure okay, so yes, political parties, and then an expanding public sphere. So, and I know that I've talked about public sphere, private sphere. So public sphere is, anything outside of the home. So this will become politics, okay? Will become most of what we consider to be the workforce, okay? So industry, but yeah, so politics will very much represent the public sphere as well. So the political debates that will come about during the 1790s expanded this. We're getting into our party system, so there need to be meetings and platforms for all of this to be discussed. So that just reinforces the idea of a public sphere to do so, okay? So newspapers and pamphlets during the time were a primary vehicle for political debate. In the 1790s, there are 100 newspapers that could be found in the United States, and by 1810, it's up to 400. Okay, so that just shows, the growth of the publishing industry during the time. And yeah, that very much helped politics grow in popularity. Okay. There are also societies being formed during this time that will, support one political ideology over another. So we still have that today. Yeah. Anyway, but so political societies begin to form. Okay, and then in regards to that, our public sphere, our private sphere, being that of the home, which was traditionally considered to be, the feminine sphere. That's where women remained and did their work. In regards to maintaining the home, child rearing, all of that, okay? But there is also much discussion during this time about where women's place in the public sphere lies, okay? So the democratic discussion of this time, or the 1790s, inspired a renewed discussion about women's rights, okay? There are people like Mary Wollstonecraft who would write and publish a vindication of the rights of women. So this is published in England to begin with, called for more educational opportunities for women. And as we get into the 1800s, this Mary Wollstonecraft's writing is considered to be one of the first feminist publications. So feminists later on will very much pull from her writings as an example, okay? Also, there are individuals like Judith Sargent Murray who wrote on the equality of the sexes, and basically education, expanding educational opportunities for women is the main, the common call of this during this time, okay? Okay, so that is a little look at, our public sphere. So voting, political affiliations, political involvement of women, educational opportunities for women. Okay, all of this is being discussed on a wide scale during the 1790s, okay? Okay, so this takes us up to the Adams presidency, John Adams. So that's where I'm going to consider this our halfway mark, and I will pick up with that. So that will take us to 1796, okay? I will see you guys back for the second half, like I said. If you need anything, please email me, and otherwise I will see you shortly. Okay, talk to you later. Bye.